We're going to be using the new magnetic mask in this video, going over some color theory, and learning some tricks that'll get your shots looking great. And stick around for the whole video because at the end, I'm going to show you some useful tips that I think you'll love. This video is the third video in this series where I color grade your clips on the channel. This particular shot is from a subscriber named Christian the Creative. Congratulations, brother. Let's pretend we're grading this for a beauty commercial project. So ideally we want to make it bright and punchy, make her look good, and keep things somewhat natural. So we're not going to be pushing a ton of color into this shot. Because this is log footage, let's add the custom LUT effect and transform it to the Rec. 709 color space by adding the correct input LUT, which for this shot is the S-Log3 to Rec. 709 LUT that you can download for free on Sony's website. Let's press Command 7 to bring up our video scopes, and let's check if the hue or color of her skin and the brightness of her skin are what they should be. So we'll crop into her skin using the crop tool. For the brightness of skin, it should generally be anywhere from 30 IRE all the way up to 80 IRE, depending on the person's complexion and the setting. And it's hovering in a fairly good range, although we could brighten up the shot a bit more. As far as the color of her skin, it's only slightly off hue, but we can adjust that so it's looking more natural. If you didn't know, this line right here is called the skin tone line. An accurate skin color should always be on this line, no matter the color of your skin. The saturation of skin, or how intense the color of skin is, should be anywhere from 10 to 40% of the skin tone line if you connect the yellow and red hue boxes. So let's adjust these issues real quick. Let's pull up a color wheels and we'll place it before the input LUT. That way we can adjust the information in the log footage and not what we're left with after the input LUT does its thing. And let's brighten up the exposure of our entire shot just a bit by raising the global exposure slider. And quick tip, if you hold Option when you adjust these sliders, it'll make a much more gradual, slower adjustment instead of the really fast adjustments it makes if you don't. So let's double click to reset this slider, and let's hold Option to raise up the brightness of our entire image just a little bit more. Now her skin is in a slightly better brightness range. With our exposure set, let's get the shot looking alive again by adding our contrast and saturation. It's always good to start with contrast first before you add your saturation, because adjusting the contrast can affect how saturated your colors look in your shot. So let's lower the brightness of our shadows. And like I went over in the first video of this series, because we're making this adjustment before the input LUT, just be cautious about how much you push things around. You can crush your blacks and blow out your highlights without your Luma waveform ever showing that you are. Let's raise the brightness of our highlights a little and adjust our midtones to find a contrast level that we like. Now let's bump in some saturation to make our colors more intense by pushing up on the global saturation slider. Nothing is worse than filming great looking shots and then having them look like trash in the color grading process. I spent a full year making the FCP color grading masterclass, so this doesn't happen to FCP users anymore. I'm very proud of this course. It's been getting amazing reviews from students. It's been added as an exclusive color correction and grading resource on Apple's official website, and best of all, it is 65% off right now. It has over 85 lessons covering everything from the fun world of color theory to precision color correction to step-by-step color grading walkthroughs. And recently, I added additional lessons showing how to use the new magnetic mask for color correction and color grading. If you don't have a lot of footage that you can practice with, no worries, because the course offers 4K clips that you can download and follow along with. Not only that, but students get my Filmic LUT packs for free, as well as a useful Final Cut Pro shortcuts guide. It's a fun course, I think, that's geared towards brand new beginners all the way up to more advanced video editors. I spent an entire year making sure that it could help you transform the look of your videos, and I am positive that it can. With the contrast and saturation set, let's double check if we really do need to adjust the color of the shot to get her skin back on track. It's looking like the intensity of her skin color is accurate now, remember 10 to 40% of the skin tone line, but the hue is slightly off. Normally I teach using your color wheels to correct this, but we're actually going to get a solid result and get closer to the look that we're going to end up with anyways by using our HSL curves. We'll head to our hue versus hue curve, which adjusts the color of whatever color we want, and we're actually going to be taking this global slider here, which affects all hues in the entire image, and swing it till we swing her skin on the line. Here's why I did this. If we turn this off and on, It's basically swinging the hues of all of our colors. This is getting her skin on the skin tone line, and it is swinging the color of our sky towards a hue that we're going to go for anyways. Now, this doesn't always work for every shot, but for this shot, it works in our favor. And I'm leaving this HSL curves after the input LUT because, as you can see, for this particular adjustment, it doesn't matter whether it's before or after, and oftentimes I prefer making HSL curves adjustments after the Rec. 709 input LUT has taken effect. Let's rename these layers so we stay organized, and let's add another HSL curves layer to start tweaking some things to get our shot a little more stylized. So let's use the hue versus hue curve to select the blue of our sky, and let's push up to change the color of it more towards cyan and teal. We're going for a natural complementary color look. That's a look that uses colors that oppose each other on the color wheel. And teal and orange work so well together because they are complementary colors. They create great color contrast and add color depth to your shot. Teal brings a sense of ease, calm, and coolness, while orange, the hue that skin naturally lies in, adds that energy back in. This combo really helps your image pop, especially in shots with people or landscapes, which this shot has both of. Let's make our sky stand out even more by using the hue versus sat curve, and let's pump in a bit more saturation into these hues. We could even try something fun by adding another color wheels and use our magnetic mask to select her and perhaps this rock that she's sitting on. And hold Option and click to deselect the areas that you don't want included in the mask. The magnetic mask is normally pretty good, but if this happens, try using the paintbrush tool to fine-tune your selection. And when you hit Analyze, the magnetic mask does a pretty good job of snapping to what it thinks you selected. We'll hit Done, and now if we push up on the exposure of our highlights, we are brightening up the inside of the mask, starting from the highlights. And because the color wheels make big gradual adjustments to your entire image, it's also brightening up the midtones slightly and a bit of the shadows. And because we want this to be a punchier commercial look and make her stand out more, let's even raise the exposure of our midtones, since skin tones lie in the midtones, and then add our contrast back in by bringing down our shadows. Then let's click outside so everything outside of the mask is affected, and let's lower the brightness of our midtones so her brighter skin stands out from the background that we're currently darkening. And we should probably feather this so it's a way more gradual adjustment. A little tip, if you want to feather even more than 100, which I think we should here, just push up on this parameter here and you can go past 100. That's looking pretty dang nice. And if I turn this off and on, you can see what we did here. That little adjustment makes her way more of a focus of the shot and almost mimics some additional lighting at this location. When color grading, we can be the cinematographers of post-production. We have a lot of influence on how good our shots look for the final video. I do want to make some final secondary corrections here. I'm noticing a bit too much color on the darker parts of her skin, and I think we should adjust the balance of our saturation levels as well. Let's pull up an HSL curves. Let's head down to sat versus sat to increase the saturation of the least saturated areas by pushing up on the left side of the curve here, and decrease the most saturated areas of the shot by pulling down on the right side here. Although a small change, this does a good job of balancing out our saturation levels. And to fix the saturation in the darker parts of her skin here, normally I would use the orange versus sat curve, but if we crop into her skin on her body and compare it to the skin on her leg, it's showing that her leg is actually a reddish hue, so a different, unnatural hue from the rest of her skin. So I think we're going to get a better result by first going to our hue versus sat curve and use the picker to select this problem area. Make a point right before the orange where the rest of her skin is sitting and just lower the saturation of the red. It's looking like this is doing a great job of making the shadow side of her leg a lot more natural looking. We could even use the hue versus hue curve. Select this area and make that anchor point to keep the color of her skin locked down, and adjust the hue of this red to get it closer to the rest of her skin. And look at this difference. Something else that my nerdy mind finds cool, look at the vector scope as I turn this off and on. That one adjustment has helped the trace of her skin to sit a lot closer together in hue. It's small adjustments like these that may seem trivial, but when added up, they go a long way into getting your shot looking more professional. And fun little trick that you may like, we can duplicate the shot by holding Option and dragging up, We'll select our main clip and hit V to disable it for now so we can see what we're doing. And let's go to our effects browser to find the Luma keyer effect and apply that to our top clip. Then we'll swing the shadow slider so that we're basically deleting all Luma values in this shot except for the very brightest areas. We'll go to our blur tab and add the Gaussian blur effect to this top clip. Let's re-enable the original clip by hitting V, and now you may see what we've done. We've essentially created a pro-mist dreamy effect for free. We didn't push much color into this shot. We just adjusted the existing colors and tweaked things to get everything looking good. And if you're finally ready to level up the look of your videos, check out the FCP Color Grading Masterclass by clicking on the link in the description and in the comments. Congrats again to Christian the Creative, and thank you a ton for watching.